Okay, welcome to the factory next door and welcome to the rolling hills of North Yorkshire. Okay, you can tell it's a bit grey and it's a little bit cold here today, but I don't mind because I grew up quite close and I just love it round here. Now then, we're about 15 miles outside of York and today we are celebrating an ancient craft, the ancient craft of tent making. And the company we're about to go see, Will's Marquees, they cut the cloth, they sew it together, they carve the wooden tent poles. It's going to be fascinating. I can't wait to get in there. Whilst I go in and say hello, have a listen to what's coming up on today's show.
I will often spend hours thinking about a different way of roping up a tent or a different shape.
Is making a tent complicated?
That's a great question.
There's only two people in the world that know how to do what I do, and the other one sat over there.
They were very concerned that the skills that they'd acquired or reacquired would be lost.
Are these your tent poles? Oh my word. That is awesome. That is a bit different from my tent pole when I'm putting up the two-man tent.
Do nice people succeed in business?
I thought you might ask that question.
Oh really? Am I that predictable?
Well, no, it's one of those things, as I've always said, the wind kind of blows people this way.
So my name's Chris Braun. I'm the founder of Will's Marquees. I founded it with my wife Lindsay back in 2010.
Okay, Chris, let's go. Let's have a look round. Okay, we begin by going straight down some stairs and into a huge warehouse. Okay, well, I shouldn't call it a warehouse, actually. Tell me what it is, Chris.
This is the canvas workshop, and all marquees are made up really of only three components. That's canvas, wood and rope, and this is where we make all the canvas and rope elements. So there's three people working at the benches, and I'm going to introduce you to them now.
I feel like benches isn't a sufficiently strong word for what we're looking at here. I mean, these are enormous.
They are quite big tables, aren't they? So each of these tables is designed to be able to put a canopy section, and a canopy section can be very large indeed, up to 12 metres wide and potentially even longer. But each of the tables is designed for a different function. So this one here is where we will do the templating and the cutting out. This table is designed so that two people can work facing each other, making either side of a canopy section. And this table, again, where it's possible to work facing each other, is where people make the walls that go onto the tents. So typically it's a process that starts here and moves its way around the room.
So what I love about these tables, apart from the fact that they are enormous, how long is that? About 12 metres, did you say?
No, the canopies are of 12 metres, or perhaps even up as far as 18. But this table here is about 7 metres long.
Okay, so
and the width of that one there is nearly 5 metres, perhaps 5.5.
Okay, so we got a lovely 7 metre long table, and in the middle of it, there's just this little dink cut out where the person sits in with the machine.
He's my youngest son, and he's making a bag.
Ben, it's very nice to meet you. How are you doing?
You too.
Okay, tell me about the material, because the material looks super, super thick and difficult to deal with, but I'm hoping you're going to tell me that's not the case.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's pretty malleable.
It's actually a cotton canvas manufactured in the UK by a company called British Millerain, and they're the company that supply Barber and Belstaff for their apparel, and we use it for tents. And the reason why it's so important to use the right quality canvas is that, first of all, cotton has a quality about it which can't be replicated with Dacron. It's the passage of the light that as it passes through it, which gives a lovely warm glow inside. And of course, nowadays it's possible to treat canvas for rot, fireproofing, and I've forgotten what the other one is. Damp, waterproofing, of course.
Yeah, that's quite important, Chris.
I've said that out.
Were you always intending to come into the business?
Yeah, I think so. Ever since, primary school, basically, I've taken part in the setting up of the tents, not officially, just was just there, not really doing much work. But as I've gotten older and finished school, I decided to join the business full time.
Favourite part of it?
It's definitely the away trips. Sometimes we get to go to these really nice places, these really fancy stately homes to set up the beautiful tents.
No, that does sound good, not going to lie. Before I let you go, can I ask you about, kind of what your friends think of what you do? Well, maybe you don't chat about it at all.
Well, yeah, I tried to avoid it, but they all admire the skill it takes to be able to sew. They're basically all at uni, so not a lot of them are doing this type of work, so they were quite interested in it.
Which is a shame. One of the things we're very keen to get across to the outside world is that there's a career to be had in doing what we do. Whether you're interested in manufacturing or whether it's more on the event side, we do both, and one informs the other. It is a respected way of making a living and enjoying yourself in the process. So I think that we need to win that argument with the younger people, especially women, because traditionally this industry has been sort of quite male dominated, and there's no reason for that whatsoever. So we do our best to try and do that, and certainly we try very hard to balance our setup teams, men and women, and a mixture of older and younger as well.
It must be very cool when it's up and it's there and you've got this beautiful, huge marquee and, as you were saying, a gorgeous kind of stately home grounds. It must be very nice kind of stepping back and looking at it with the lights on and thinking, yeah, I did that.
It's definitely the best part. You spend all day setting up, sometimes multiple days setting it up, put all this effort into it, and then you can sort of just stand back and look at it and appreciate the work that you've just put in. And
Ben, very nice chatting to you. Thanks very much.
No problem.
Lindsay and I decided to get married after many years together and went looking for a marquee to celebrate our own wedding at home, and couldn't find one on a rental basis in Yorkshire, or anywhere for that matter, that we liked. So almost by accident, I found a company in Cornwall run by a husband and wife team, Dave and Laura. It's called Bell Tents, and they were very bohemian. They spent most of their life travelling around Europe in a bus, putting on shows. And at some point in that lifespan, they decided that they were going to make tents. He'd been a boat builder. She was a mathematical whiz. And they sat down and they designed and built tents, which they used for performance. And then they came back to Cornwall, where they were from, and set up a business making small tents beautifully. I got in touch with them, got on really well with them, bought a tent for our wedding. It was really expensive, so we decided that we would put up a little website and see if we could get our money back, and it grew from there. So we started out as a rental company, but on the manufacturing side of things, after 2 or 3 years, they rang us up. In fact, they came to see us, and they said, we're going to retire. Nobody in our family wants to take on the business. Would you like us to teach you how to make a tent? And we said, absolutely, yes. They were very concerned that the skills that they'd acquired or reacquired would be lost. So the DNA of every tent that we make, every Wills Marquee's DNA, owes a debt of gratitude to Dave and Laura of Bell Tents. And you could probably extend that further back into history, into time, because the tent maker's art's not a new one. Essentially, a tent is fabric held up with poles and ropes. It's just how well you do it. That's how we got into manufacturing.
Thank you, Dave and Laura.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we come to an even bigger table. They just keep getting bigger.
Yeah, this is Dave, who is our chief designer.
Dave, very nice to meet you. How are you doing?
Oh, very well. How are you?
Yeah, good. Are you enjoying your day?
I am.
Until I turned up.
So Dave, just correct me. I can't remember exactly how long this table is. I said 7 meters.
6.
I beg your pardon.
8.6. I knew it was longer than 7, Chris.
Yeah. You're right.
7.5 wide. Yeah, it's necessary. I mean, the piece that I'm making right now, once it's all together, because we make it in halves and wholes, The other parts are made in quarters, then halves, then a whole. This piece on its longest edge is 24 metres, on its shortest edge is 18 along its length, and then it's 4.5 metres tall. Now, obviously it's impossible to visualise that as you're putting it together because it's just too big. So we have to make sure that we get our shapes that we cut out exactly right, and then just trust the process. If you've got all your start shapes right and you follow your seams correctly, it's going to end up the right shape.
It's like the biggest garment ever. Kind of on this show, we've had the pleasure of going to a number of kind of garment manufacturers, and you see them there with their pieces of cloth, sewing them together, and the artistry and the work around that. What blows my mind is stood here now, and you're talking about making, pieces that are 25 metres long, and you're sewing them all together.
This is the little one. This is the end. So I don't know whether you've seen the model upstairs, but our tents aren't one huge canopy. I mean, the weight would be ridiculous. The big ones are 120 kilos each, just for one section, and there are 6, sorry. And then the ends, they're about 75, 80 kilos, so roughly half the size. So this is the little one.
Dave, how did you, if you don't mind me asking, how did you end up here sewing enormous pieces of canvas?
I thought you might ask that question.
Oh, really? Am I that predictable?
Well, no, it's one of those things. As I've always said, the wind kind of blows people this way. I don't believe that anyone has ever gone to their careers officer at school at the age of 16 and gone, I want to be a marquee maker. That's what my focus in life is going to be.
You're the exception to the rule. Is that what you're about to tell me?
I've worn a lot of hats. I left school, I was a welder. I then went into the motor industry. I was a mechanic. I was an AA patrol for 9 years, an RAC patrol and leading patrol for 5. I then left all that and went into the police. And then just by happenstance, and I happened to date Chris's sister-in-law, I ended up just helping out here when I had free time. And I am a maker at heart. So when the opportunity came up to just make things for a living, and not only that, become responsible for how they work, how they look, the new designs for everything that we currently offer. How could I say now?
Yeah, when you were talking through your list of previous kind of lives, it was very noticeable that right at the start, it was very much using your hands, and you seem to maybe just drift off that course.
I'd say no, not drifted. Well, drifted off when I went into the police service, but none of it's, when you really think about it, is wildly different. I mean, I used to weld things for JCB diggers. Used to make things. Now I'm just welding canvas with thread. It's the same thing. I'm taking shapes and I'm sticking them together with a permanent, method. So it's just a different machine, but ultimately I'm making a small thing into a really big thing and a useful thing. And in this case, quite a beautiful thing. And although it's a bit tenuous, there's only 2 people in the world that know how to do what I do, and the other one sat over there.
Oh, that's a lovely claim to fame, that is.
Nobody else can make what we make. They'd work it out eventually, but not for a while. This has been, years of development, really, and taking what I've learned from making our regular tents and applying what I've learned and knowing more about the materials, about the loading, about what we can and can't have, mixing up the strength with the aesthetic.
Oh, you're loving life, aren't you, Dave? You're loving this.
And how I play with the light and how where the seams are and how big they are and how they interact with each other gives you. This is a radial design. If you've ever seen a radial sail on a yacht, where it's almost like the rays of the sun, that's how this is off every king pole. And so how that light shines through is, well, it's important because the colour, when the sun's out, the colour inside the tent is so calming. It's otherworldly.
Is making a tent complicated?
That's a great question. No, if you were to try to write down the process which is involved in making a tent, then the headlines would be very simple. The complication comes in the precision that's required and translating a 3D shape into a 2D piece of fabric. So that part of it is super complicated and is right on the border of a science and an art. And it's why what Dave does in terms of the design and our design partners, why what they do is so important. We were fortunate that we had Dave and Laura's blueprints of much smaller tents to use as a start point. So we weren't coming up with it from scratch. We were able to evolve things, and let's be honest, there's quite a bit of trial and error. So a big part of the expense of developing a tent is the fact that you don't get it right first time. You might make a tent and then have to throw it away and make it again until it's right. So I'm not sure that answers your question. It's both complicated and simple.
Everyone who joins the team, do you have to train them?
Yes. No one has the skills. You can't hire people who have the skills that you need to make a tent. You have to teach them. You very much have to grow the skills in-house, and then it is an iterative and an evolving process from that point onwards. One of the things that we're very keen to do is to find the next generation of tent makers, young men and women who want to come into this industry. It's very niche, but it's very rewarding. And so if anybody's listening and would like to give me a call, they'd be very welcome to do so.
Lots of dogs saying hello in the background. Is running a British manufacturer what you thought it would be before you started?
Well, I didn't really have an expectation. Perhaps if I'd known how hard it was, I might have run off. But I don't come from a manufacturing background, so we weren't put off by previous experience, and we were able to come at it fresh. And I think that gives you some benefits. I think it also means that you make a lot of mistakes. You tend not to make the same ones twice. But no, I think that what we didn't expect was to be prevented from developing by a lot of red tape, and that's particularly true of export. We find it very difficult to export. Previously we did, and we do much less now. We are not a mass-produced product, so it's very hard the people who buy our product abroad, buying it to provide a service from which they can make money. So their initial investment is high, and it's even higher when there's significant administrative expense to add on top of it.
Is there one thing the government could do to make your life much easier?
Well, they could make it a lot easier to trade with abroad. Now, how they do that, I don't know. But if you could wave a magic wand, it would be lovely to have access to Europe in a way that was not intensely painful. Timmy, come say hello to Steve.
Tim, very nice to meet you. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Excellent.
So Tim's role is he is the head of production, so he's responsible for the timely delivery of every single tent that comes out of this building.
Awesome. So all the deadlines fall on you, Tim.
Absolutely. Nationally, internationally, locally, the lot. So I've had to wear a few different hats and learn a lot about international shipping and...
What the joys of international shipping.
Oh, it's so much fun. So much fun if you like paperwork.
But apart from all the paperwork, which is a joy and a pleasure, what else are you doing?
Well, as you can see with the three of us, regardless of what we do specifically, we've got a lot of commonality. We physically make the things and make sure they're out on time and bagged up and all lovely. I like to think I'm fairly creative and I can turn my hand. My grandmother worked for the internationally renowned Ganex factory in Elland. That side of the family also had a spinning mill in Huddersfield before the bottom of that market fell out in the 60s/70s in the first instance, and two other grandfathers worked as tailors. So somewhere it's inherent.
Oh, it is in your blood there.
If you can have it in your DNA, I've got it in spadefuls. So, it's just about being creative, and it is a process. Dave I think of it as quite artistic and creative. Dave might have probably looked at it from more of an engineering perspective, and that's where he come from. So
You want a bit of both. It sounds like you've got the perfect mix.
The two of us work well in that respect.
Ooh. Okay, where are we going in here?
Well, this is the warehouse where we keep all of the marquees that we use ourselves for rental. So you'll see.
Are these your tent poles?
Yeah, these are called.
Oh my word!
A metre long, for 4 kilos in weight, and they are 20 millimetres wide, and you need good strong arms to knock them in. Yeah.
That is awesome. That is a bit different from my tent pole when I'm putting up the two-man tent down in the campsite.
But if you think about it, they're the only thing holding the tent to the ground. The tents work on tension, and they have to be tensioned to something. So without these stakes firmly fixed to the ground, the tent would just fall over. So they're quite important.
I bet they are. Oh. I love it. What happens to the tents when they're finished?
Well,
when the event's finished?
That's a really good question. I mean, there's a difference between the working life and the life. So the working life of our tents is 5 years, and the reason for that is because they need to be immaculately clean. They'll actually last a lot longer. So we have been approaching a number of different companies to talk about recycling them and turning them into other things. We've offered them to local charities to see if they want us to work with those charities to teach people with disabilities to make things out of them. So it's a bit of an ongoing project. It's something that's really important to us. This building was designed to be very environmentally friendly, so we harvest the water from the roof, and there's no heating in the building. It's all done from a log burning stove. So we try very hard to tread lightly on the earth, and part of that is making sure that the kit has a life beyond its natural lifetime. Luckily, the wooden elements and the metal elements, they'll last forever. They just acquire more and more patina. You do need to replace the canvas elements.
And that's what you're thinking about in terms of what can we do with it?
Yeah.
What can we do with it next? The next stage of its life.
Yeah.
Okay, back up the stairs into another room. Oh, wow.
So we're now in the wood shop. This is Tommy's domain.
Hello, Tommy. How are you doing?
Tommy runs, in the summer, he runs all the teams out of Yorkshire for the delivery, but in the winter, he puts on a different hat and he comes in here and he is the person who makes all of our wooden components and fits them up with the metal bits.
Oh, I love it, Tommy. Tell me about them. Tell me about them, because they are quite a sight, these poles.
Well, this is wood from Wales. We get it chopped down, sent up here, and then I do all the jointing on it. I'll show you.
What kind of wood is this?
Welsh pine.
Welsh pine.
So, pretty much entirely by hand. You fit them up for the sleeves, and then these top half and the bottom half go together, joined by the sleeve, and that's the bit in the middle of the tent.
So by hand, you're having to carve little kinks into these poles so that you can slide on the metal sleeve.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That looks hard work.
A little bit at a time. Edge it on a little bit. It leaves a mark where the wood's too fat for the metal to go any further. Pull it back off, and then use your knife to take the marks off, and then you do it again. You just repeat it until you get all the way down.
Is that intensely frustrating?
No, it's really pleasant work, actually. If you like working with wood, so which I do.
Tell me why it's so pleasant.
It's just one of those things. I think you like anything you do with your hands. Obviously, in a perfect world, I'd be making guitars or something, but you can't make a living doing that. This you can. So it's just really pleasant work. Just making pieces of wood, a little bit shorter, a little bit thinner.
Have you always worked with wood?
No, I'm a tank driver by trade. So when I came out of the army, I got a job here and I've been here ever since.
Do you still do some on an evening? You know, do you spend your days carving these wooden poles for these magnificent marquees, and then do you go home and do a little bit of woodwork, or have you had enough?
Not so much anymore. I play bass guitar in a couple of bands, so that's my hobby.
Are you going to make your own bass guitar?
Oh, eventually one day, yeah.
What keeps you awake at night, Chris?
Well, I will often spend hours thinking about a different way of roping up a tent or a different shape. That sort of thing really is not everybody's cup of tea, but it's what keeps me awake at night. I tend not to worry about money because I believe that if you're doing all that you can, that side of things will look after itself. It's not always true, obviously, but I tend to focus on the doing the basics the best we can. And so that, if you were thinking it might be money that worries me, it's not. It's always about how to make what we're doing better. I think what we have to do is ignore geopolitics. We're a company that makes tents for celebrations. And as long as we carry on making the best tents there are and being nice to everybody, which are our founding principles, then I believe that people will always want to have a party. We need to continue to be nice people and to live up to our standards and to our ethos.
Do nice people succeed in business?
Yeah, I think they can. I mean, I'll let you know in 10 years. I mean, you need to earn enough money to be able to live, but you also need to have the ability to look yourself in the mirror in the morning and say, I'm happy with what I'm doing, I'm proud of the product that I produce, and I'm not ashamed of how I go about doing it. I think those are very important aspects. And I actually don't think there's any reason why you can't be profitable and wealthy and not compromise those ideals.
Wealth can be measured in so many different ways.
Indeed, yeah.
Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me. It is much appreciated.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Steve.